Hey guys, if you don't know me or you're new here, my name is Reagan and today I'm going to be sewing. I don't know how to sew, but has not knowing ever stopped me from trying? No, it has not, so it's not going to stop me today. I'm going to be making a book sleeve specifically for my planner because I bullet journal, so it's just kind of a random notebook. And this year's color is yellow, and I got a new one because I ran out of space in my last notebook. And I realized just how dirty the first one was, so I'm hoping it fixes that and also makes it easier to carry around my pens, highlighters, pencils, that sort of thing that I like to have with my planner. And I'm not going into this completely blind. I do know that I need some direction, so I'm following a YouTube video. I will figure out how to link it, and if not, I'll put the thumbnail in so that you can follow along if you'd like to, and you'll know who the creator is. If you don't, that's fine too, because honestly, I watch way more crafting videos than I craft myself. I like to craft vicariously, so I get it. Before I start cutting and measuring and all of that fun stuff, I'm going to show you what all my materials are so you know what I'm working with. I do have more than I need. Joann's was going out of business. R.I.P. I miss you, Joann's. But anyway, I got more than I needed because of that, and honestly, things rarely ever work for me the first time, so I will probably end up having to redo it, and unlike, well, I guess I could take it apart. But then there are holes, I don't know, that's a lot of effort. Anyway, let me just show you what I got. So to start with, just some elastic. It's 6 colors, it's 4 yards each, self-explanatory. It's just to make sure that the book sleeve stays closed when there's stuff in it. Okay, the fun part, the fabrics. I chose 3 pattern fabrics. I'm probably gonna end up using 2 for this one and any future ones that I end up making because if I'm being realistic here, I might mess it up. But also, I can be a little bit of a mood book sleeve person, I guess. So anyway, let me just show you what I got. I really like fall, so you'll see a theme. But this is the first one. It's just some apple pies. They're 2 little squares. It says fabric quarter, 18 by 21 inches, 100% cotton. I think this is for quilting, but I don't care. Today I'm going to be using it for my pocket. And what I'm going to be using for the main body of my sleeve is this. Another fall theme, well I guess winter. There are Christmas trees. So you got some Christmas trees, pine trees, some mushrooms, deer, do we have anything else in there? Leaves. So nature, fall, I love the cooler months. And I say that living in Southern California, so that is very much relative. I think I need to explain this last pattern. So I have this pencil pouch that I put into all of my purses. It kind of comes with me no matter what. And it's just like a bunch of random items that I find to be useful, like lip balm, tissues, hand sanitizer, hair ties, stuff like that. And it just happens to have a pasta pattern on it because I thought it was funny. And when I saw this fabric, I thought there's no way I can pass it up. And I would love to make another sleeve out of this. And I was going to do it today until I realized that it might be a little bit hard for me to see having so much black fabric involved because I'd want to do the same fabric for the pocket. So just to have a little bit of contrast, I'm going to be using the other 2 for this one. And a little bit less fun, so to add the padding into the book sleeve, I got this fusible fleece. Sorry about it crinkling, I didn't realize they put the little instructions on here. But this is the non-sewing portion of my sewing project. You just iron it on, and it sounds right up my alley. Hopefully I don't melt it. We'll find out. And lastly, for the lining, I just got a solid color so it's not too busy, and it happens to be my favorite color, which is kind of a deep red burgundy moment, and it's also really soft, so I'm super excited to use this. But something you might notice that I don't have that is kind of important are buttons. I didn't realize that until I was sorting through everything. I realized I don't have any. So I might end up going through my stash of buttons for knitting and crocheting projects. I'm sure I have some left over. Or I might even go through the buttons that I have that come with shirts and jackets because I honestly so rarely use them because I don't normally just lose a button. I usually still have the original button. And right now they're just taking up a lot of space in my closet, so I might as well use it. I'm sick at the moment, so this is my 3rd, maybe 4th massive mug of tea. finished watching the tutorial. Look at me, I'm becoming an adult. But yeah, I actually watched all the way through before just starting like I normally do. So I did a little paper mock-up of the main sleeve to make sure my planner fits. This is my planner in it. And as you can see, it's a little bit of extra space. But I think because obviously fabric and multiple layers of fabric are going to be thicker than a piece of paper, I think it will be perfect. So I'm going to start cutting all the fabric to size. I've hit my first snag, or hiccup in the road, if you will. It's a very good thing I have way too much fabric. So the outside of the sleeve, I realized two things. One, for some reason on one of the panels, I lost an inch in the width on one side in comparison to the other side. I don't know what happened there. But it's probably for the best actually, because I realized after I cut the pieces was that there's a little 1/2 inch kind of warning banner saying not to use it for children's pajamas. I don't know why it's there, I'm sure it's there for good reason, but I don't really want it to be a part of my pattern, so I'm going to redo it and take that into account so I can chop that off. In addition to that, I also used Fray Check, which is just like this little glue. I've used it before when I was mending clothes. I had a leather jacket where there was a hole in the lining, and before I mended the lining I wanted to make sure it didn't spread, and I decided to use that. I didn't realize quite how long it would take to dry. So I think I'm going to not use it again on the outsides of the sleeves. Really the reason I started using it was because on the pocket part, I noticed that it was already fraying. That was the quilting fabric. I don't know if it's just because it's cotton and it's kind of slippery. It doesn't really have that felted together feeling that flannel has. But anyway, that seems to be measured correctly, so I'm going to let that dry. But I'm going to recut the main pieces, and hopefully then I will be ready to start. I don't know how long that takes to dry though. Also, this is taking way longer than I thought it would. I gave myself like 2 hours to do this and I thought, wow, that's plenty of time. It's been 1.5 hours and all I've done was cut the pieces. So that's where that's at. I guess while I wait for the pocket part to dry, the pocket fabric to dry, I can search for a button. Might be a little bit of an odd question, but I used the fabric chalk, or where is it? This guy. Water-soluble marking pencil. And even on a black fabric, I could not see it. So, obviously it wasn't even going to work for a white one anyway, but I couldn't even see it on a black one. And that just came with like a random mending kit that I have. But, what do you guys use to mark? Because this is just a normal, like erasable pen that uses friction, which I'm pretty sure it's just heat. So I'm using that, but what do you guys use? Because this also didn't really, I mean, granted it might be because of the tip, but it didn't really work on the felt or the fleece, that's what it was. And I ended up just using a Sharpie because hopefully no one should see that if everything goes to plan. But yeah, what are you guys using to mark what you're doing? I just realized the pattern should be this way. And right now it's going to be cut here and go sideways. So let me cut this for the 3rd time. I can't believe I'm almost done. I have the finished front, or the outside here, and the lining. This is the first time I've actually made anything from scratch, not just modifying something, since probably 6th grade home ec, if I'm being perfectly honest. And not the most pretty, but that's okay. I'm just gonna line these up and I'm gonna pray that my sewing machine can fit over the bulk. I did actually finish it. It didn't seem like it for a second there, but I did. So I am going to tell you a little bit about it. First, let me show it off. This is my baby, and it is so cute. I did end up putting a seam here to break up the pocket, so I got some pans on this side. There would be stickers or posters or something on this side, but not at the moment. I do love the fabric. This is so soft, and I like the contrast. I somehow messed up. So this barely, and I do mean barely, fits my planner. It kind of is a little bit of a Goldilocks moment every time I try to put it in. It's a little bit of a, is it just right? Which I know is a me problem, and also gauging size, because I did not clearly adequately anticipate how thick the fabric would be, but also things just did not end up how I thought they would. So I learned a lot, and let me tell you a little bit about it. So I now understand why people who sew will have these like paper templates, because it would be so much easier to have just outlined a paper template that I would have cut to size for each of the dimensions that the fabric needed to be, than to measure it out each time, because that is how I ended up losing an inch. I'm still not sure how I did that, but I did that, so I need to somehow manage to not do that again in the future. And kind of, I guess, in the same vein as like checking the pattern. Not the pattern that I'm sewing, but the pattern, if there's a pattern on the fabric, to check it so that it is right side up, and if there's a warning banner on it, because I personally would not have wanted to have a thing on the bottom saying like, not meant for children's sleepwear. Which I'm sure there's a point to it, but not necessarily the aesthetic that I was going for. So I measured the button, like where to put it, and it was 1.5 inches down, and I did actually measure it, and yet somehow it's at the very top. And the seam, hem, the place where I sewed the two pieces of fabric, the lining and the outside, is only about 1/4 inch. So it should be at least 1 inch down, but it's not. I don't know how this happened. Maybe I didn't sew it very centered. That's possible. But anyway, I don't know how that happened. And again, this is all user error. The pattern itself, the creator and the instructions were so clear. I just don't know what I'm doing. Okay? But also, the other thing that I kind of messed up was the elastic, because the first time I did it, I accidentally sewed it that it would have been tucked in between the lining and the shell instead of on the outside to actually hook over the button. And unfortunately, that happened to be the same location where I had started and ended the round. So I had to rip the seam to pop it out and re-sew it. And I'm really hoping that it holds, because if it doesn't, the entire thing's going to come apart. Because that is where I also had done the kind of anchoring instead of doing like a knot, like sewing back and forth with my machine. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, it feels pretty sturdy right now, so I'm fingers crossed. But there is more elastic. It's just I couldn't pull it out. So yeah, user error. And I can kind of see it fraying. I'm pretty sure that is from my seam ripper accidentally getting caught on the elastic itself instead of on the seam. But anyway, I did, even though there was a lot of bumps in the road, I did have a lot of fun with this. I really like the patterns that I chose. It was really fun to figure out, and I kind of felt like I was in like elementary school arts and craft class again. And that was really nice. And I'll be able to see this every time, and it's functional, so I actually get to see it all the time. So I will be using this, and I will make another one so that it's not quite as finicky. Maybe I can use this for like my Kindle or a thinner notebook or something like that. But this is a lot of fun. And if you are a beginner like me, really allocate a lot more time than you think you need for the project. I thought I was being generous and giving myself 2 hours. I did time myself. It took me about 4 hours to make this. because there was a lot of mistakes happening. And that's how you learn. But yeah, so I'm glad I didn't let not knowing stop me, because now I have a nice little book sleeve. I love when arts and crafts get to be practical and I get to use them instead of them just being for aesthetic. I don't know, it makes me very happy. Wow, that was quite the journey. It was truly a roller coaster of emotions going on, but I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for sticking around for this long. And if you do so and you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I would really appreciate all the help that I can get. But with that being said, I hope you did enjoy this video anyway, and if you did enjoy it, you might like some of the other stuff that I already have up, so you can either click on the videos just on the screen right now, or you can just check out my channel, whichever works for you. But I hope you have an absolutely amazing, amazing week, and goodbye until next time.